I'm stateless person. I want to be stateless. I don't want to be stick to any land. And let me tell you, let's say when I immigrated to New York, it was life on a street. And I remember first time with you, we go on a New York street, I feel myself, yes, this is my land. You know why? Because nobody care about me, and I care about nobody. So that is my land. And that is America, because here they say American dream. American dream is important when nobody bother you, you not bother anybody, and you can make a living.
To be a stateless person, I mean, again, that kind of gets back to that hyphenated nature of identity for so many artists, that it's a kind of in-between. The fact that Gregory would say that he's a stateless person doesn't entirely surprise me.
You're absolutely right with these questions. It was very difficult for me to leave the country because I feel very comfortable there. I live very comfortable there because of him, actually. He helps that life to be comfortable for me. I have lots of friends. I have whole my family there, but in the same time, I understand that his life will be miserable there, and he will be probably end up in prison. So I decided to just follow him because I love him.
Why in prison?
His words were so unpolitical correct there, so he could be in prison easily.
Gregory says exactly what he feels. And he's got this incredible passion, which is reflected in his art. I mean, there he is at his beautiful home out in the New Jersey countryside. And he spends all day, as far as I know, many days, just devoting himself to creating works of art. That's pretty incredible in itself. There are not too many people who could do that, but he does.
He refuses to be forced to go in a direction he doesn't want to go in. And that's a defiance. And he's belligerent about it in that he's going to force his understanding of it upon you, and that's where his art comes in. So he's taking these very difficult topics and he's thrusting them in people's faces. And if it upsets them, so be it. He's not concerned about whether or not it upsets people. He has a message to proclaim.
He makes you see which you haven't seen before, and after you see it, you know, of course it was there, always. That is, from me, highest compliment I can give to any creative artist, being a musician, visual artist, poet, or writer.
In his photography, his other works where he's created these collages, where he does just simply representations of female figures. There are just many different messages, but I guess I'd say that Gregory is constantly asking the viewer of his works to really get at the basics of what we're all about. You know, to kind of question who we are and what the meaning is of our being on this earth.
In Soviet Union, nobody will buy anything except if you are a member of Union of Artists of USSR and got some commissions from the state. And I find out the best job in the world in that time for me, which really helped me to start to be an artist. I started to do posters for the movie. Posters for the movie, posters for the theater, posters for the circus. So that it was my first job, which really helped me to start to be an artist. So after 2 years working on these posters, you can't believe it. When I look on anything or read something, ideas started to come out. My brain started to get used to create concept on any visual things which I see around myself or I read in a book.
Пик успеха пришелся на спектакль, который поставил Феликс Берман, режиссер. Он был назначен одно время, на короткое время, художественным руководителем этой труппы. Он поставил «Заколдованный портной», так назывался спектакль. Пригласил Григория Перкеля для оформления спектакля. Григорий Перкель оформлял и как художник-декоратор, и как художник по костюмам, если не ошибаюсь. Спектакль был на редкость удачным. Он сделал то, что просил его режиссер. И самое главное, на мой взгляд, когда художник предлагает костюмы актерам, актерам должно быть удобно в этих костюмах. Как в старом еврейском анекдоте, не костюмчик играет, а актерчик. Так вот, костюмы не мешали актерам, а помогали им.
Art, it's brain, it's mind, it's concept. It's how you express your senses, your feeling in a visual. It's emotion. Emotion is very, very important because, let's say, when I study accordion, and let's say I even play of Mozart, Ronda, so I have to start just looking on the sheet music and just play and study this stuff. But in the art, somehow I speak or draw from my soul, and that was very important. And it was my real talent. All art in a previous time created for the sake of religion. It started from the ancient Egypt. It was in a prehistoric time. It's actually in the prehistoric time, we can say that on a cave, it was some kind of the depiction of the hunting. It was life of that people. But then later, when people started to create myth and gods, artists has to visualize them so common people can look how they look like. And so artists really help, and musicians really help to put music on a religious, hymn on a religious topic. Let's say right now, I do body of the work which I call Women on a Death Row in the United States of America. And I divided, it's 64 of them, some of them kind of the killers, but two parts of that, it's touched me very deep. One part, 14 women, those who kill their kids, 1, 2, or 4. Another part, 10, who kill their husband or lovers. And when you loot at a store, it's a crime. When you kill your child, it's a myth. And you have to understand why it's happened. And it's happened very rare, only a few cases. But it's like in Dostoevsky, it's show you for that 14 cases of killing your child, 300 million Americans responsible.
So in this series, the one piece that I personally resonate most strongly with is this one over here. And it's a very sad story of a woman who is involved with another man. And during the course of this affair, her children died under mysterious causes, with the implication that she killed them. And during the course of investigation, apparently she was trying to blame their deaths on her lover. This is a very sad story, but it's one that that's been recurring throughout the ages in a certain sense. It's about love and lust and death. And juxtaposed, or not juxtaposed, but contrasting this, mirroring this, on the other side of Gregory's piece are these photographs of friezes, bas-reliefs, sculptures, all with an erotic thrust. And that's a reminder that this is not necessarily a unique story, but this is a story that has been recurring throughout the ages.
This is not work that's going to sell. You know, people aren't necessarily going to want to put it up on their wall, but it's something that as an artist, Gregory had to pursue. He had to go down a sort of rabbit hole with this work and try and make sense of it when he first encountered these women who were creating these atrocious acts. It's brutal to read the stories of these women. You can look at the work either formally, and actually it's quite beautiful to look at it formally, but when you read about what the women have committed, the crimes they have committed, it's horrific.
What is the funny is that we live in a state which is called USSR, which has embassies all around the world, and was represented in United Nations. And that state was mythological state. It was real myth. When group of the apostles with Stalin as, let's say, Jesus, ran the state. State was totally myth. It's impossible for such a state exist in reality. But with all efforts of the brainwashing, the state existed for 70 years. And I personally very happy that I live in that state. And I know what it means brainwashing. And I know how the myth created. But when I moved here in the United States, I started to live in another myth. I never leave just state of the myth, because people constantly created mythological things. There it was Stalin, and here we have corporation and advertising, which try to brainwash you too. They really want to buy, they want you to buy their product. And they started to create myth about that product. And you are a brainwashed idiot, go to store and buy that product. And what I do in my art to help other people not to be brainwashed. And because if art before help people to be brainwashed, we're talking about religious art, icons. Still now in Russia, just some bad artists to paint bad icon, and people in the churches kiss this piece of wood with the images on that.
Be more patient to others, yes, because he is not patient. You know, he is very short-tempered. He doesn't want to listen to the end conversation. I want him to be patient and to listen more.
When you go to common places and meet somebody for a few seconds, I do not care. But if somebody, just not your friend, but if, let's say, your friend brings some of your friend to my house or to my studio, and that guy all of a sudden come out just stupid, or like one broker I have in my studio, and he was kind of the currency broker. So I show my pieces, everybody look at them, and that broker all of a sudden take out your phone and started to check what's going on in Hong Kong with that currency. You know what? I threw him out from my house.
Yes, he's very tempered guy. He he sometimes feels sorry for screaming at me and others, but he feels sorry very quickly and he calms down very quickly. But I keep it inside of me for a long period of time, my anger. And he doesn't keep it in him. He forgets it.
I love American supermarket. It's some kind of the from Rabelais, Gargantua, Pantagruel, when going narrative of different products, zillions and zillions of them, and all are just stay on the shelves and the boxes, and something left over from that, packaging boxes, lying on the floor, just crushed and put together in some kind of the piles. And I remember once, all of a sudden I started to see symphony of the colors. So when they crushed, some colors just started, from the different boxes, started interacted with each other. And all of a sudden I started to see, wow, that is already ready mix. You don't have to mix colors on a palette. Life give you ready mix from some kind of the commercial, we can say, leftovers.
If I were to think of one type of work that would characterize Gregory, I think that it would be the cardboard pieces, and it has a lot of the elements that I think are unique to Gregory's vision. The first is obsessiveness. It requires a very obsessed person to meticulously cut out those shapes and glue them, and be able to see the abstract pattern in these little pieces and then create this mosaic. So that requires an obsessive, compulsive person to do it. The second part that I think defines Gregory is the craft, and I think that the craft there it's flawless. When you look at it, it's a level of perfection that if it were machine made, we would say is cheap, but because it's made by hand, it's sublime. The way that those pieces fit together. And then the third part is the vision, which I think is a vision of dystopia. His larger view of society is dystopian.
They're so powerful visually that they capture one's attention, even if the artist's voice is only kind of shimmering in the background. Because they speak a language that all of us are already familiar with, the language of advertisements, of brand names, of logos. If our world is such a visual world, but so much of that visuality, I think, is sourced from corporate language. We're constantly inundated by advertisements, commercials, billboards, and even on the kind of the cardboard box, the most modest carrier of corporate branding, it's still, that's its kind of identity, is this this logo. And so Gregory is kind of building off of that, and we're able to recognize where the material is coming from.
You see, hold this point, I can explain to you that art, let's say Andy Warhol still understandable, because he is kind of his art was based on symbols which is all around the people. Photography, portrait of the stars, just dollar sign, like photograph from flowers, and then digitally master it with boring stuff. And anyway, at least you can bring 10 years old and in front of the Andy Warhol picture say, look, this is Elizabeth Taylor. She was very famous Hollywood actress. It doesn't matter what is there. But you can bring that kid to Pissoir by Duchamp, explain to them that this is fontaine, like Duchamp call it, fontaine. And you can... You mean fountain. Fountain, I'm sorry. Fountain. And you can't bring the kid to the pictures of the site Twombly, because kid can say, listen, I can make it better than that artist, and why he's in museum. And that is whole this point. On the other way, if you bring that kid in front of my cardboard piece, I say to him, listen, Bobby, this artist create this piece from cardboard boxes in which you packing your book when you just move from house to house. And he will look and started to recognize elements from that. He said, wow, I can't make it, but I will try. And that is interesting. So that is the art when you just bring to the young guy some message how to create art, or message about life, or message about history. That's art for. You see the whole this point. Artists do not inspired by pieces which other people think as garbage. Artists can be inspired by possibility to use some kind of the material from the garbage, which allowed them to produce some kind of the extraordinary pieces of art, only because of structure of this material. Let's say a lot of people do sculptures from old tires, car tires, you know, or even old cars, and just from really some kind of the scrap, metal scrap. Chamberlain created his sculpture from this. Yeah, of course, it can be just in our time, especially after Duchamp, it's no taboo on any material. Let's take musical instruments. Let's say fortepiano. In time of the Bach, fortepiano is not existed. Can you imagine how much power for his composition Bach missed because he missed some instrument? Saxophone, fortepiano, some kind of the other instrument which was created, an electrical instrument. Can you imagine if Mozart, let's say, hears saxophone, how exciting he will be maybe. So in this case, my cardboard pieces, it's kind of the new instrument which I created to give a chance to my brain express my idea with a different sound, visual sound.
To marry to the artist, to Gregory, you think about Gregory, of course. You know what? In the beginning, it was kind of difficult, but the more you live together, the more you understand him, and it's become much easier from year to year, because we live together almost 50 years. Next year will be 50 years.
I immigrated not just to work here as illustrator. I immigrated here just to really find out myself as an artist and say something to American people about themselves through my art. And that was my goal. And Natasha clearly understood it, and she was very passionately support all this thing. And she finished 9 months course in the Pratt Institute in mechanical art, and then she started to freelancing all over. And in '83 she was hired by New York Times because she worked there as freelancer to create maps. And recently she retired after 30 years working for New York Times, and she became one of the best cartographers in the United States. First of all, I am very unusual artist who confused to all collectors, to critics, to gallerists, to everybody, because I produce not the same stuff during my life. My art is after biographical things. My life changed, my art changed, my vision changed, my ideas changed.
Он может быть очень хорошим портретистом. Когда он творит, так сказать, по собственному наитию, без всякого заказа, он совершенно другой. Шекспир тоже писал и комедии, и трагедии. Поэтому я бы не подходил к этому художнику и вообще ко многим художникам вот так, чтобы он обязательно был узнаваем. Конечно, велик Ван Гог, потому что вы всегда увидите его руку.
But for Gregory, it's just one chapter, right? As you said, he does reinvent himself from one body of work to the next. And I think that really is not an unusual characterization to have an artist who's a kind of chameleon. And especially, I think, for an artist who comes from a background of having such strong technical training. And actually, maybe that gets back to your earlier question of whether there's some shared characteristic of Soviet nonconformist artists, is that their toolbox is so rich in terms of the techniques that they're able to rely on. So I don't find that to be problematic, an artist who always keeps his audience guessing.
Let's say recently I started to do a whole body of the work from photographs. Let's say in India, a few women stuck together with their colorful saris in the front of some kind of the market stall, and all of a sudden you see it's kind of the Matisse picture without Matisse, and you just click shutter and you got amazing, absolutely amazing, great picture. And one of the sample, I believe you saw this picture with the three Buddhist monk who stay just in a garden of ancient temple with a absolutely straight diagonal and shoot each other with telephones. It's absolutely amazing because I just just click a shutter and that's it, and I got this picture. And when I got this picture, this whole philosophical idea come out from this, that it's how it's...
Gregory approaches photography like a painter. And there are, in photography, struggled for a long time to become an art, but it would be a mistake to say that photography was struggling to become a painting. I think that Gregory has a very strong sense of composition, and I think that that's what he brings to photography. And I think that he's using the medium to observe, to make visual notes, to find the compositions as his life unfolds.
I come to the point of view that it's when you learn everything, you know, and nothing kind of the missing, then you started to understand that it's absolutely a small part of the real art existed. All other is garbage, even in the great galleries, even in museums, even in biennales, even in some so-called Olymps of the art. It's just really few bits and pieces of the good art. Recently I got a new issue, July issue of Art News, and they put it down. They are dedicated to 200 leading collectors in the world of not only contemporary art, just collectors, 200 collectors.
Rewind this all the way back to when people started making art in the first place. Why did they make art? They made art because it was a spiritual experience. They made art because they could express an emotion or an observation or something that moved the author, and the author was then able to move people who subsequently saw the work. That spiritual communication, that sharing of emotions is what I think that art is about. So the validation of an artwork doesn't come in its price tag, it comes in its ability to express authentically and to reach another person and move that person. That's the validation of an artwork.
And of course you have to understand that all these 200 collectors is billionaires, not just billionaires. And plus to that 200, we have another 300 which buy from time to time, not on a regular basis, or maybe just they was there in a first group and now they're somewhere there. What does mean leading? Leading, it means you have to spend, started from 150 million in a year on the art. And 150 million in a year, it's maybe only 2 or 3 pictures, or maybe 5 pictures. And God knows why the pictures cost 30 millions or 35 millions. I don't have any slightest idea. It's better for me, I understand the life of the flies than behavior of that people.
If he had developed and pursued a certain style, whether it was his cardboard pieces, whatever of the multitude of artistic directions that he's taken, if he had stayed with one and become better known for that, it probably commercially would have been, I think, he would have been more successful. But I think Gregory's work is very personal. I think he's had a great need to pursue all of the different directions that he's gone into. He's a seeker. He's always asking questions. Life is an open inquiry for him, and it's taken him all of these different approaches. It continues to take him to different places.
There is a market, there is legendary names and careers, and there is real substance of art, and they are not the same. Like I always say, the music and music business are not identical. They are not the same. Same in art world, art business. If your work costs 10 million pounds on Sotheby's, it doesn't mean that it's better than some unknown guy who, but it's market, it's value. We live in this artificially created world of values.
We are now clearly outside the Garden of Eden, and the religious reference is mine, not necessarily Gregory's, but we are very mortal and outside the Garden of Eden, and we are not doing a good job in this world. We are not being kind to one another. I don't think that we're being kind to the earth. I think that our treatment of objects and each other is distancing rather than embracing. So there's a certain coldness to those pieces, those cardboard pieces as well. However, they're fascinating to look at, and once you appreciate what he's doing and in the larger context, whether he's built a pyramid or made a table setting or he's developing currency, you see the same vocabulary, the same words being reconstructed, but they're all chapters from the same book, and I think that is really the mark of an artist.
Он другой, он Перкель. И я думаю, что если я попадаю на его выставку, а у него бывают выставки, или персональные, или он участвует в групповой выставке, то всегда можно узнать, это Перкель. Можно ли сказать о том, что он успешен уже сейчас? Вы знаете, к сожалению, опять же, судьба многих, даже, пожалуй, большинства художников, их начинают ценить через много лет после их ухода из жизни. Поэтому говорить сейчас о том, успешен он или нет, трудно. Поговорим об этом лет через 50, через 100. Я думаю, тогда мы сможем оценить его по достоинству.
He's still a Russian.
Why?
Well, just because Gregory is, he reflects his background, and he moved to the United States with his wonderful wife, and they've made a life for themselves here, but he hasn't given up his Russianness, and it's the best parts of being Russian that he has. The warmth, the hospitality, the saying what you feel and displaying your emotions, being willing to take risks. That's who Gregory is about, and I kind of associate that with being Russian.
I came to America and found my own land, yes.
Which is not American.
I could say that America, to me, yes. It's not Russia, definitely. It's completely different country. It's America. And I respect that country very much because it accepts us the way we are. And I never forget it, never.
Okay. So you wouldn't say that you're a stateless person?
No, I'm not. Gregory probably, yes, stateless, but I am not.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's okay.